Welcome back to the channel. Notes per string. What is that? What does that even mean? Well, it's how many notes you play per string. For specifically scales is what I'll talk about on this video. The general idea is that any note is available to you on the neck on multiple strings at least twice. Many times, really, for most. In fact, if you look at any single string, you can play each note in the musical library at least once, the vast majority twice, as you go through 2 octaves. Which means you have choices when you look for a note, when you look for a chord, when you look for a scale to play. You have choices to make for which string you want to play it on, and you might make those choices for the timbre of the string. For example, here's the 2nd fret G string. This is the A note. That same note on the D string, on the 7th fret, it's a little tubbier. My strings are probably dead, but you get the idea. You know, there's a different timbre to those strings. So I'm going to show you how to use the notes per string constraint by changing those. How many notes per string do you play on a scale specifically? And what the result is. Where does it take you on the neck? And what choices does it provide you, and what kind of things does it open up for you? So let's get started. So notes per string, again, is just a way of using a constraint on a scale to push yourself into different positions on the neck. The first example I'm going to use is an A major scale with the root on the E string. Whenever guitar players learn 7-note scales, this is pretty much one of the first positions or forms that you learn. And it's designed to lay out on the neck in a pretty, easy way to obtain. It's got 1 finger per fret, etc. As far as notes per string are concerned, you can see that it alternates between 2 and 3. And it does that. It's designed that way to get that position really comfortable under your fingers. So what I'd love to show you now is if you take a simple constraint like let's only play 2 notes per string, you end up starting the scale as you normally do, but instead of that 3rd note on the A string being on the 7th fret, you have to find it on the D string now. And that's the example there. 2 notes per string. So interesting, right? It's all the same notes, 1 octave, but it pushes me towards the nut. So that might be advantageous for me. Because I like that A note on the 2nd fret, maybe that's where I want to end up, or it really sets me up nicely for the A major pentatonic scale. Right? So the next example is 4 notes per string. So again, we are basically saying we're only going to play 4 notes per string. Here's that same major scale playing 4 notes per string. Interesting. It changes the way I finger it. It pushes me up the neck. Now I'm up here. Maybe I wanted to get up here to do some phrasing. 4 notes per string on the A major scale through that 1 octave. So interesting. It just shows you that using a constraint like that starts to get you moving around in directions on the guitar that you either A, might not be familiar with, or B, need to use to get you someplace that you're targeting. You want to go somewhere. The next example I'm going to use is the pentatonic scale. A minor pentatonic. We're going to go through 2 octaves on this one. Now, that scale lays out extremely well as 2 notes per string. In fact, that's what it's designed to do on all of its different forms, which you can find anywhere, and I've got a video on that as well. But it's designed to get you across the neck. keep you in that position. And this is one of the battles that guitar players have to fight. Can I get out of that? Can I become more than just a position player? Here's that same scale through 2 octaves. Using a constraint of 3 notes per string. Now this isn't one of the pentatonic shapes, one of the 5 shapes that you hang on the E string and you have to memorize. It's just the same exact notes through 2 octaves, 3 notes per string. Listen, we're on a different string, it's got a different timbre, we're way up the neck. We can do something else. Maybe we can ride or hop on that position of the A minor pentatonic scale up here, that we like so much. So we're not down here anymore. We've gone up through 2 octaves and it's put us somewhere else. The other unique thing it's done is that in this 3 notes per string constraint, you can add slides. It sort of suggests to you, given the way the guitar is laid out and the way your fingers are moving, it suggests these slides. So it gets you up the neck, and it's got these great slides in it, which suggests some new phrasing. It basically says, you're going to use this constraint, this notes per string constraint, but it's also going to suggest slides, and it's going to suggest other types of techniques that are specific to the guitar that get you a little more expression. So in other words, I have to now invent some sequencing to make this scale sound less stiff. But using this 3 notes per string, I can just play the scale by itself and have some more expression. It just takes you in a new place. It just gives you something that you already know, and it just makes it fresh and wonderful. So there's notes per string. Basically, you use a constraint like this to move yourself into a new position on the neck, to make choices that provide you with a new landing point, or if you're headed somewhere on the neck specifically, I want to get up to that 12th fret area, you can use a scale or a phrase, change the note per string constraint, and scoot yourself up there on purpose. Rather than just being locked in a position and then having to hop over and sort of explore something else, or to go, how am I going to get from there to there without, how am I going to do it? Notes per string is something that you can practice to get under your fingers, to get into your mind, and to get into your, your control of your fretboard, to push you around into new places. Again, as always, take this idea and apply it to scales that you already know. You look at channels like this one, like others, for fresh ideas. What I'm hopeful for is that an idea like this, notes per string, will allow you to take the concept and expand on it yourself. And you'll be able to inspire yourself and find out, put yourself into, find yourself on a new spot on the neck playing a scale that you already know. You should be able to surprise yourself at least a few times. Anyway, have fun with it. See you later.